who's on the call right now. At least it's good seeing you, not seeing you yet, because the monitor is still dark as usual. I love it if everyone can turn on their camera as well, but we also have a lot of people who are working in the stores all the time, selling the goods, or right now selling less of the good. It's with what is going on in BC over here. Yeah, that's actually pretty crazy. I heard before that the BCLDB actually put a hold on direct delivery as well now while we're striking, which I find honestly very questionable. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I hope that we still have a lot of bartenders chiming in the next little bit in here. Oh, someone's already chiming in the chat. Info.royal cannabis selling Fritz. Feel free to also click on the screen and rename yourself as well, so we can get to know your beautiful name as well. And I see Rahul over down in the corner. Rahul, are you working right now, or are you at home rolling a joint and getting ready for the Burn and Learn with Fritz today?
I'm working today, so I've joined the call from the work.
Oh, from the work. And what store are you at right now, Rahul?
I'm at Fire and Flower. I manage one of the Etobicoke location in Toronto.
Awesome. How's your store doing today? Is it busy?
It's steady. It's steadily busy.
Steadily busy.
Oh,
nice.
The store that I manage, it's pretty busy today.
Yeah, show us a little bit around quickly if you want, by the way, while in the meantime, everyone else who's in the store working and has time to also put their camera on, feel free. Yeah, get a little store to here. It looks beautiful, the Fire and Flower. And yeah, as usual, we're just gonna wait the first 10 minutes a little bit to let people get chimed in. We know Burn and Learns for the bartenders. Bartenders usually consume quite some cannabis, so people are being late. And I posted everyone already the BTA YouTube channel in the comments, as well as the BTA Instagram, my Instagram, and the Differing Collective Instagram and the Differing Collective Discord. So if you're not into any of the social medias that we have yet, just click the links and join the chats. And also you can rewatch all the BTA Burn and Learns that we had in the past on the BTA YouTube channel, which I highly recommend. I even rewatch them as well, because sometimes you know how it is with the Burn and Learn. You smoke a little weed, you forget things, and when you can easily rewatch it quickly to soak up the information again. But also, yeah, I'm really excited for everyone who's joining in right now. We have Tabitha Fritz right over here rolling up some random weed, mixed some hash. And yeah, I'm excited to talk with you today, Tabitha. But I also want to give the chat the chance quickly to Casey, actually, to introduce us a little bit on the B-Lounge event that we have coming up soon.
Thank you so much, Thomas and Tabitha. Really excited to see you and learn about all things edibles. I'm sure I'm going to have lots of questions myself, because it's a new category that I've started venturing into, and watching my sugar intake. It's a hard one to explore. But yeah, would love to tell everyone about B-Lounge who's on the call. We have launched a new traveling event to support, celebrate, educate, and engage with budtenders across the country. Our first one is going to be in Calgary. So if there's anyone in Alberta who's on the call, we would love to welcome you at the Mansion. We've rented out a rather large exclusive property in the downtown Calgary area, where we'll have several activations throughout the day. Carmel and the Loud Plug are sponsoring the Garden Lounge, and then we have Stoned Yoga in the vape tent with royalty. Pool Boy has taken over the indoor swimming pool, and we have a home theater as well, where Cannabis Amnesty is going to be showing their Legalize Us campaign and doing a donation drive. There's a billiard table, a foosball table, games, sampling, and safe transportation as well. We have shuttles that are going to be taking you to and from the venue from different drop-off points around the city. And then B-Lounge will be moving on to Vancouver after that for a couple events towards the end of this year. And then also we're taking over the Bud Tender Pavilion at Lift & Co in Vancouver. So if anyone's in Vancouver this January, Bud Tenders Association is going to be bringing Bee Lounge there as well. And we have some exclusive after parties dotted around the city with some retailers. And in the new year, we'll be coming to Toronto to do round 3 and come back home for a little bit where it all started. Any questions, please feel free to let me know. I see anyone's going from Edmonton. Ah, nice, Casey. So we're actually setting up a carpool program. We have a trainer from Fire and Flower and Plant Life that are coming down to the venue from Edmonton. So I will reach out to you because we have about 20 bud tenders right now that are going to be traveling down from Edmonton. And we'd love to, if there are any further spaces, fill those spots up in the car as well, and help share on the gas and the expenses. We would love to connect with you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Thomas. I'll let you take it away. Let's learn about Fritz's.
Yeah, let's start learning about Fritz. And also to give everyone a super quick heads up, I'm going to be at the mention party as well. So if you ever want to chat in live and in person with me and have a look through our microscopes, come to the event. But yeah, event away, let's focus on Fritz today. Let's focus on some edibles. I hope some of you maybe have had some Fritz edibles before the Burn and Learn or during the Burn and Learn today as well. I'm excited for your presentation and everything we get to know today. But first of all, Tabitha, how are you doing? How was your day today?
I'm good, thanks. My day was good. It was a little strange. I went to meet someone downtown for a cup of coffee, but then they totally forgot they were going to meet me. So I got to like walk around Yonge and Dundas Square smoking a Benny Blunto. So it was all right. I can't complain.
Yeah, the Benny saves the day, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, Tabitha, do you have a presentation for us today as well that you want to pull up? Because I think I made you co-host already. So at the very bottom, you should be able to share your screen as well.
I don't have a presentation, but what do you want me to talk about? Because I can talk about pretty much anything.
Okay, perfect. For me, it would be really interesting to just get to know a little bit more about your product and everything you guys are doing at Fritz. And yeah, for me, it's the first time I've been introduced to you guys at Fritz. So I'm also wondering, are you guys based in BC? Do you have any products in BC as well?
Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about us, I guess. I'll tell you about our background. So we're a Toronto-based company, and we got our start in the legacy market in 2015, 2016. So we started making edibles around 2015 for people that we knew in the space, other patients, people. Oh, did I freeze? You see me? Okay, good.
Yeah, you still are.
Okay. And then in 2016, here in Toronto, Lisa Campbell and Sarah Gillies started the Green Markets. And they were like these sort of underground farmers markets for weed, for 2.0 products. So for edibles, for topicals, and for concentrates, because they weren't available in the dispensaries. And so we got our start with that. My husband and I kind of said, like, we've been making edibles for people. We know people like them. Let's make a brand. Let's see what we can do. So we started the Fritz's brand, and started selling our edibles at the Green Markets. And then we had a table at the Kensington Flea Market, which was amazing. And that gave us a lot of really on the ground consumer experience in terms of learning what the consumer wanted, learning what kinds of products.
I think we have a connection error right now a little bit, Tabitha. But yeah, let's see it also to give everyone, while we're figuring out the little connection.
So we started the move. Oh, can you hear me?
You were frozen for a few seconds. Or
what was the last thing you heard?
The last thing we heard was when you started explaining about the very first farmers markets where you started to sell your products.
Okay. So, yeah, we sold our products there at the Toronto Green Markets, and that allowed us to connect really closely with the consumer. we were able to understand exactly what products they were looking for. We could understand what questions they had, what information they needed about dosing, about edible, and it really gave us the opportunity to know our consumer very well. Is the connection okay?
Yeah, the connection, it does work right now. It makes the impression like it wants to stop a little bit, but I could hear everything you were saying.
Okay, if it cuts out, just let me know and I'll call back on my phone instead, and we'll do cellular instead of Wi-Fi.
Okay, perfect.
But so then we had the opportunity in 2020 to move to the regulated market, and that was always our goal from the beginning. And so we did it. We found Meds, which is where Royal City Cannabis, the dispensary, is at. So that's why we're in the same building.
Yeah.
There are farmed.
I think I'm gonna have a quick look, or Tatiana, if you can, could you message her the phone number just in case, so she has the number as well. And for anyone else who's taking a quick break, use the break to roll up your joint, finish rolling your joint, or get your edibles ready in case you forgot them. And by the way, I also wanted to remind all of you, we had an Instagram post about it, but I just wanted to remind all of you that we also have a giveaway for the end of the Burn and Learn. So if you see Tatiana looking at the screen the entire time, writing down little things, she's writing down you guys' names, because at the end of the day you can win a BTA prize package as well. And yeah, I just hope Tabitha will call back in a little bit. But yeah, oh, she's in the waiting room. Just gonna let her in. But yeah, in the meantime, everyone else who just joined recently, feel free to let us know in the chat where you're chiming in from, and what's the store like today. Is anyone from BC here right now? Is anyone a little mad about what's going on lately? Just feel free to write any comments in the chat. And Tabitha is back, and it looks like she's on the phone. The mug is awesome, by the way.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you, yeah.
Great, okay.
Good. It looks like it's stable.
Okay, good. Cell phone was the way to go.
Sometimes, yeah, I had computer issues at the very beginning. You saw it as well. You're not alone. You're not alone.
Yeah, so you can't trust technology, so we always have to have backups. It's good.
Not always, yeah. Perfect. So where we stopped was that you explained that working on the farmers markets and really talking to the customers, getting to know the customers, really helped you to understand the needs of the customers and like the needs of the THC or CBD ratios they want. And how did that continue from where? How did you take it from those farmers markets then into the legal space later?
Great. So our objective was always to get to the regulated market when we could. And when legalization happened in 2018, but then edibles were regulated in 2019, we started to explore it, and we talked to a few different LPs. We talked to a few different groups, and nothing really fit with what we had been doing, right? Everyone was kind of had this idea still about these pubcos and that, you're going to have stocks and this and that, but no one was really talking about the legacy to legal thing at that time. So it was an uphill battle trying to convince LPs and investors that what we had was valuable and that our insights and our knowledge were something they should invest in. And so it took a little while, and it was in about 2 years ago. So in August of 2020 that we connected with the group that we're with now. So we connected with a few investors, and we are in the Meds building in Etobicoke, and that's Royal City is the farm gate there. So that's how we know them. Yeah, that's right. So we've been operating, producing in that facility since July of last year. So it's just been a little bit over a year, but that's how we got there.
And what are like the products that you are producing at the moment? What's like the product line that you have?
So right now we have 3 distillate gummies in store. So gummies that are made with THC distillate, and we're getting rid of those for now. And the reason for that is because there are a million distillate gummies on the market. And it's really hard to compete on price, especially when you're hand making a product. And in terms of distillate gummies, our expertise lies in infusing high dosed edibles. We know how to do really high dosed edibles because that's what we did in the legacy market. We know how to make them taste good. We know how to choose the right inputs. We know what we're doing with that. So we'll come back around to distillate edibles when the dosing limits increase and we can compete on that. But for now, we're just focusing on our hash rosin gummies. So right now we have 1 hash rosin gummy in market. It's called It Takes 2 to Mango. And it's got 5 milligrams of THC per gummy, 2 gummies per bag. We're going to be launching 2 new hash rosin SKUs. Awesome. We're going to be launching them first on the Mendo medical platform, and then we're going to be launching them in the OCS in the winter. So those SKUs are, one is named Citrus Got Real, and that's 5 milligrams THC, 5 milligrams CBD. And the other one is Pineapple Ever After, and that's 10 milligrams of THC and no CBD. So you've kind of got a variety of dosages with the 10 milligram limit that we're able to work on. We've got those 3 hash rosin SKUs, and then we've got a couple high dosed CBD SKUs. So Tropical Twist has 25 milligrams of CBD, no THC. It's made with a CBD isolate, so it's really clean. And then we've got a blue raspberry flavor launching that will have 20 milligrams of CBD and 5 milligrams of THC. So a little variety for people who like the higher CBD.
That sounds really good. I'm also like one of those people who like to have a CBD gummy a little bit as well. Especially before I do work, I feel like CBD gummies help me to focus a lot too. And we had a lot of good comments already and a lot of head notes right away when you were mentioning hash rosin and no distillate anymore, because I feel like distillate is something that the bartenders are also pretty tired about as well. What's your personal take on the differences between hash rosin and distillates? Why would you say you prefer the one to the other kind?
So for me, I give the analogy that distillate feels like a slap in the face and hash rosin feels like a warm hug, right? So it's a totally different experience, right? Distillate is just straight THC. You might get a few minor cannabinoids in there, but the amount is so low that it doesn't really make a difference in the effects, A. And B, if it's not high quality distillate, it's going to taste really bad because it's got a lot of plant matter left in there, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with hash rosin, you've got this full array of the cannabinoids that were in the plant, right? You have all of the native cannabinoids and you have the full profile that was there. So you've got your THC, your CBD, your CBG, your CBN, your CBL, you've got all of it. So it's a lot more well-rounded of an experience, right? It's more full body, it feels better. Sometimes I wake up, if I've taken a lot of distillate at night, I'll wake up sometimes in the morning with a hangover. I won't feel good, right? The next morning, my head will hurt. I'll feel dehydrated. But with hash rosin, I never feel that way. So, we started making our own hash rosin edibles for us a couple of years ago, and we never looked back. We never make our own distillate edibles at home now. It's only hash rosin. It's just the effects are so much better.
Yeah, how is it for you? Can you talk a little bit more about the actual process of making them, and what are the differences between those as well? Is one also more labor intensive than the other as well?
So we don't do the inputs ourselves. We buy the hash rosin, we get it from Hashco, or we buy the distillates. Yeah. So the only work that comes is we have to decarb the hash rosin when we get it from Hashco. So when it comes, it's not decarbed yet. So it's full of THCA and CBDA, the acid forms, but we decarb it. So then we have THC and CBD to work with in our edibles. So it is a little bit more labor intensive in terms of the hash rosin, the decarbing it, but in terms of making the gummies themselves, it's the exact same process. We use a hand batch low temperature process that really enables us to maintain any native terpenes that might have been in that hash rosin, right? You're going to lose some automatically because of time and evaporation and the heat of decarbing, but whatever's left in there, we keep our temperature lower when we're making our gummies than the temperature used to decarb the hash rosin. So we're retaining every terpene that's left in there and that might have some kind of potential effect when the consumer takes it.
That's awesome. Are you buying the hash rosin then strain specific, as well when you're making the edibles?
Not right now. That's something that we've explored and we've been talking about whether or not we want to do that. What we found is that we really have to make sure that we've got a consistent supply of that hash rosin so that it can always be strain specific, because I think producers sometimes say they have a strain specific input and they maybe don't ongoing, right? Because you don't necessarily get the same effects from time to time. And so I'm really interested in being honest and in, you know, representing the truth. So we had trouble sourcing a single strain in terms of doing just this, but it is something that we're looking at in the future. And maybe it's something that we'll just do like some limited runs with. And, you know, we can get this much, this strain hash rosin, let's do this. And then it's over when it's done. So that is something that we're exploring.
Yeah, it's also probably very, very hard to just like get a lot of hash rosin as well, given how much flour probably, like, I don't, do you get estimates how many planes probably go into like one delivery for you guys to make those edibles? Is that because I feel like those gonna be like a huge amount of flowers, right?
That's a great question. I really don't know. I don't know the number of plants it takes to make a key of hash rosin. I feel like that's something I should know. I'm going to make myself a note to look that up when we're done.
Yeah, no worries. Also, someone's already in the comments also giving Hushco a heart as well.
Nice. Yeah, they're our buddy. We love them.
Awesome. And from the products that you have, would you say you have anyone that's your favorite? Are you into the CBD gummies at all as well, or do you prefer THC varieties more so?
I love our hash rosin gummies, but my dosage, my personal dose is like 150 to 200. So I don't really eat the legal gummies because I have to spend $1 million. But I do really like our CBD gummies. I find that they're really useful, like right after the gym. I tend to get a lot of inflammation after I work out, the older I get. And so taking a CBD gummy, like either before or right after I leave the gym, really helps to fight the inflammation, and I'm not nearly as sore the next day. So I would say the tropical twist is the one that I really like the most. Yeah.
And then what would you say are some of the like key or case to go ahead? I keep my question. I
was just gonna say 200 milligrams is your dose. That's mental.
No, I know. I have some like enzyme deficiencies, I think. Like I don't always process THC like properly in my stomach, and then I think my liver maybe processes it too quickly or something. So I've always been like that. I've always had to take a lot more. So I just take oil. Generally, I don't eat edibles. It's too much.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't even know if I could get out of bed for a few days with 200 milligrams in my system.
Yeah,
that's not normal.
It also showcases, but it also showcases a little bit as well the deficiencies that we have a little bit with our edibles too, because like as you were saying, you would need like to eat so many edibles, and I feel like even on the medical side to get like oil that is as high as well is almost like a conquest to find the right producer to get oil that is just like strong enough for that.
Yeah, it's true, right? Like there's so many people out there, patients for sure, but not just patients, like regular consumers who can't access what they need from the regulated market, right? And so we've essentially created two marketplaces for edibles. There's the regulated marketplace for everyone who consumes 10 milligrams or less. And then there's the underground marketplace for everyone who needs more than that, right? So I think that all Canadians deserve access to safe and regulated edibles, not just people who consume 10 milligrams or less. So I think Health Canada really needs to look at raising the dosing limit so that all Canadians are able to access what they want. There's lots of people who have high tolerances, right? Like, let's go.
Amen to that. Everyone's agreeing. Elise is clapping as well. Elise, do you want to chime in a little bit as well quickly? What do you think about that, and what do the consumers think?
Yeah, like exactly. Same with like sometimes the childproof locks, where it's like, when am I not a child? Like I can't open it. You know, you have serious people that can't open it because they have arthritis or whatever. So yeah, I think the edibles is a joke, and it should definitely be increased. And that's exactly what the customers want. I mean, it's good to have the little ones for the beginners, but at this point, you know, we're all adults.
There's not enough of a like range. Like it's just like too small. Like there needs to be like a 50 pack that's like 20 milligrams a piece or something like that. in addition to what's already like existing. Cause like, don't get me wrong, like I know someone who 2.5 milligrams gets them ripped for the entire night, you know, and it's like, I wish I was you, but I'm not you and I can't do that. So yeah, there's definitely some change that needs to happen. I think what's there should stay, but there needs to be additions big time.
Yeah, that's right. I agree.
Yeah, someone was also writing in the comments, and I'm very curious about that, Tabitha, if you know anything about that as well, because and I saw the petition as well, because there was a petition about the drinks, because buying 5 drinks at a time is pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
And do you know if there's any like activism or anything going on about the edibles in the area, or there also like maybe some entrepreneurs like you maybe going together against the regulations, or is there anything we could support as well?
So the Cannabis Council of Canada, I know that they're basically the cannabis industry's only lobby group, right? We don't that, and the reason that like alcohol can do whatever they want to is because they have this huge lobby group who lobbies politicians. So the Cannabis Council of Canada is starting to do that for us. George Smitherman is the head of that. And I know they went to Ottawa to speak to different leaders in the government. And I don't think that they were super successful in speaking to people, but I do know that they're starting to do it, right? And we got to start from somewhere, like somebody has to do it. And, you know, and I try to speak out about it as much as I can so that people are aware, because I think the more people are aware of you know, the problem, then the more pressure there will be on government to make changes to the regulations, right? So, and if people don't know, then they're not going to put any pressure, right? So the more, I think, right, at least my tack is the more I can talk about it and the more I can educate people as to the context of what's happening and what they, some different perspectives they could potentially have on it, then I think that's my approach to really try to get people to understand what's going on.
Yeah, and that's a really good approach. It's also kind of like, I don't know if you heard about like the collective I founded, but with the different collective, it's all about basically creating content and like voicing your opinion about the regulations and about plant medicines, like openly to drive more awareness about those concerns. So I love the points that you were bringing up for as well. But the last question that I would have for you before I let the bartenders chime in a little bit and let them ask you a little bit more about edibles and your products as well is, what would you say are some of the key sales things the bartender should keep in mind when selling Fritz, regarding your story and the processes how you make the products as well?
Yep. So key points are that we're a legacy to legal brand, right? Got our started in the underground market, made the transition to the regulated space, and we are also, you know, we fight for other legacy companies to make the transition as well. We think that's important. We think they have a lot of really important knowledge, and they should be scaffolded and helped by the government in making the transition to legal, the regulated market. So legacy to legal is number one. Number two is that we have our hash rosin gummies. They're, you know, full cannabinoid profile, native terpene profile. So they're within the 10 milligram limit. They're going to be the most effective gummies for most consumers. Everybody's different, right? But if someone is looking for a hard hitting edible, we've got consumers now, edibles have been legal for 3 years. So you got a consumer who's worked their way up to 10 milligrams and they're looking for something that's a little bit harder hitting. Hash rosin gummy is the way to go, right? A full spectrum gummy is the way to do it. I think there's some live rosin gummies on the market too. Collab, I think, has some. So that would be, you know, a full spectrum gummy is going to give you a stronger effect than a distillate gummy. So that's the second sales point. And the third sales point is just that you'd be supporting a small family-owned local business, right? It's just me and my husband. We have a couple investors, but we put money into this business too, right? So we've been working our tails off for the last 6 years, and we love what we do, and we want to make sure that Canadians have access to good, safe, reliably dosed, excellent edibles. So, you know, supporting Fritz's means that you're supporting a small local company too.
And on that note, I would love to visit you guys one day, because watching you and your husband work and making so many gummies with all this hash rosin sounds like an awesome experience. So
yeah, come by. We'd love to have you. Anytime you want to come by, just let me know. We'll give you a tour.
Awesome. Are you doing tours for bartenders as well on that note as well? Maybe Casey can organize a little something one day too.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Happy to.
Amazing. Then on that note, for the bartenders, who would like to tour the facility and who has some questions right now for us? Feel free to unmute yourself. In the meantime, I will look through the comments if any of you guys put any questions into the comments so far. And Tabitha, if there's anything that you wanted to add to your brand or anything you want to give the bartenders on their way, feel free to share it as well, while I let you guys decide on some questions for us.
All right. I saw one question in the chat. I'll address
Yeah.
right now. I just thought go by. It was whether or not we have vegan or sugar-free options. And the answer is no, not in our gummies. When we were in the legacy market, we had a number of other products. So we had granola and Chex Mix that were sugar-free products and that were more of a savory baked good. We haven't been able to get those to market yet because of nut issues in our facility. So we can't work with nuts while we're there. And unfortunately, the way that we make gummies, we have to do a gummy that has sugar and that has gelatin. So we don't use pectin, we use gelatin. So I would love if in the future one day we had a sugar-free gummy, but we do not have one right now.
Okay, then the next question, by the way, is in what provinces are your gummies right now, by the way? Because someone's already asking if your products will be reaching Newfoundland at some points as well.
Yes, so right now we're in Ontario and Saskatchewan, and we are working on Newfoundland. Newfoundland's a little funny to get into because you got to have local local shops distribute it. But we are in the process right now of working with an LP in Newfoundland to get our hash rosin gummies in there. So I don't know if it'll be under our brand or if it'll be under this LP's brand, but they are on their way, and they will be in there hopefully sooner rather than later.
Awesome. And it's a weird question at the weird time we're in right now, but are you trying to get any gummies into BC as well? Not right now, that I can understand.
We approached BC and they were not interested in gummies made in Ontario. So we may try that again with our hash rosin gummies, but you're right, now is not the time.
Yeah, BC is also like, oh my God, it's not distillate. We don't want it. Yeah, weird. Then another comment we had were in the chat as well. That's something super interesting for me and maybe something you can share a little take on as well. But have you tried any CBG gummies or experimented with just CBG as well? And yeah, maybe you're already nodding. What's your experience with CBG, and when should bartenders recommend CBG gummies as well, by the way?
Yeah, so CBG is super cool. I first became really aware of its effects because my mom has she has some gut disease, and CBG is really indicated so far for gut disease. So I called her. I was like, hey, like, you're taking CBD, why don't you try CBG instead and see if it helps with, you know, how things are going. So she started taking CBG gummies and she loved them. Now she takes CBG and CBD gummies both every day. That's kind of like her vitamin, which is amazing. Yeah. And it's actually gotten her off her meds, which I know we're not supposed to like medical, whatever, but that's the anecdote that has happened, right? My mom is now off her meds because of that. So we actually have been experimenting with gummies in some of the minor cannabinoids. So we have a white label client called Kinlock, and we are making gummies for them that are terpene infused, have CBD, some have CBN, some have CBG. So they're all THC free. And so Kinlock's going to be launching those, I think, in October, but we're making all of them with our formulations, with our process.
Nice.
So I'm really excited for those to hit the market because, you know, not only are they going to be CBD, CBN, CBG, but they've got cool terpene profiles in them that were like based on research. And I don't know how much I can say, but they're very cool. And I'm really excited for them to hit the market so that I can buy all of them and eat all of them and give them to people.
Are it's going to be only in Ontario as well? Do you know that?
No, I think they've got theirs in, I think they may have them in BC as well. I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. I know they were working on BC, so I'm not sure if they got them in there yet.
Yeah, everyone in chat is already super excited. And yeah, Simone, I know Simone's up in the 9 she's just commenting on what of a mess it is right now with the strike that we have going on here in BC for all the bartenders that weren't aware. The BCLDB is striking here, so no one's delivering any products, which is, yeah, I guess that's what happens if the government has a monopoly on deciding about and delivering cannabis products. But yeah, great. The legacy people are probably laughing right now a little bit, but that's just that's just how it is. Yeah, but I hope that this will actually evoke a lot of change here in BC, because it's gonna wake the government a little bit up right now. And otherwise, so that's going down in BC. And OCS got hacked. What is that? Tatiana, can you share that super quickly? I haven't heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the OCS got hacked, so there's no ordering. There's just a whole lot of nothing. Looks like BC and Ontario are really struggling right now. I went to a dispensary and it was almost like pre 2.0 days. Like they had like 4 different brands. It was wild. So it's hurting everywhere it seems, which is really, I'm sorry about that, everyone.
Yeah, I went to a store in Vancouver and I couldn't get any pre-rolls, but shout out quickly to Moose, by the way. Peter, yeah, see you down there. Shout out to Moose on Granville. Moose is stocked, man. I got mango toffee pre-rolls and Cannatonic pre-rolls. I was so happy, man. Lift and Co event, the mango toffee pre-rolls saved my day, honestly. But yeah, also, what else do we have in the comments? Do we have, we also have Simone has a video in there if you want to get more information. There's a video that explains everything that's going on in BC right now. But yeah, crazy that it's happening in BC and Ontario kind of like around the same time. That's very odd, yeah. But yeah, do you guys have any more questions about edibles as well? Because I would be interested to hear from you guys as well, because I've done the little distillate and hash rosin experiment myself already, and I found that I noticed a little bit of a difference actually when taking them, that like how Tabitha was saying that the hash rosin just feels like a more comfortable high, I would say. So I just wanted to see, actually, Peter, if you're already in the chat, what's your experience with distillate gummies versus hash rosin gummies? So,
yeah, like I've only tried hash rosin gummies a couple of times, but like I definitely, like you say, noticed it being a little bit, yeah, more rounded. It's the same as like a live resin vape versus a distillate vape for me. It's like the high feels like more of a cannabis high than like that THC only high. Yeah, I was wondering though how in the CBG and CBN gummies that they're producing, like how that's derived. Like, is that solventless too, or?
No, not solventless. So I think the CBG is a distillate and the CBN is an isolate, but they both went through a solvent. Like I think it's a CO2 process.
Yeah.
Just like your basic CO2, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was because I was wondering if you like had a super high CBG flower that you were extracting from, because that'd be super cool. But yeah.
Oh, that would be super cool. No, one of the most important things to them was that they remain THC free. So as a result, we're, just, I think actually the PBG might be an isolate too, then, to make sure it's THC free. But I think that was the priority. But yeah. I agree with you. Like a hash rosin made from a high CBG flower would be amazing. I would love that.
Agreed.
That would be awesome. Someone's also saying, Kim is saying that she would be looking forward to getting the Fritz gummies in Alberta as well, as we're almost just distillate gummies. Not many good distillate edibles were.
We're in process with Alberta. I think we're waiting on their board now or something to approve us, but we are in process with them. Things take so long in this industry,
Yeah, it does take a while, especially now with people striking. All the priorities are all different right now as well, I guess. But I also noticed a super interesting comment from Kelly here, who is explaining how she's trying the different cannabinoids a little bit to help with her pain. And CBG and CBN together help them pretty well. So we're asking if there's any plan to make any CBG and CBN gummies together as well.
Not at the moment, but that's a good idea. So let me just stick that one in my back pocket. Thanks.
Yeah, one thing that we were discussing before that I'm interested in was with the drinks, because I know with the drinks that we have on the market, and you guys can correct me, but if there's any new products, but all the drinks that are on the legal side as well, all just distillate drinks as well. So I wonder if any company will ever come out with any hash rosin drinks, or what you think, Tabitha, why there are no hash rosin drinks on the legal side? Because I know on the legacy market you could get hash rosin drinks even as well.
Yeah, no, you could totally do that, right? All you have to do is nano infuse the hash rosin. It could go. Oh, Elise says there is a rosin drink in Ontario. I don't know about that. Elise, do you want to tell us?
Yeah, it just came out impromptu. Impromptu. It's a rosin drink, a lime something. It has no sugar, and then 10 THC, 10 CBD. I want to say maybe just the THC.
Sorry,
It's
what's the-
pretty
what's
bad.
the brand?
Tastes like a watered down lime cordial, if you ask me. But
What did
I
you say
think
the
it's
brand?
called like They're the one that have impromptu. I want to think they're called. I'm
Okay,
probably
I'll check it out.
someone in the chat wrote it correctly.
Great.
Impromptu, that's the brand that also is making the kombucha as well, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's
Cool.
Yeah, I love the kombucha. This was honestly my favorite cannabis drink that I've tried so far.
Rosin lime seltzer.
Yeah, Elise, by the way, have you, so you drank the impromptu, how was it effect wise besides the flavor, by the way? Do you notice any difference compared to any other drinks?
Yes, but I didn't really like it. It was hard to finish. It
Oh,
tasted really bad to me. Like there's some guys that have come back to the store and bought it again. But I had a question for you. So you know how there's Edison Jolts?
Yep.
Could you guys do like that, but like better quality?
So the thing, the thing with them that it's super interesting, right? The reason they're able to get away with that is that they don't use sugar. So they're using isomalt, and they're using peppermint oil, which can be considered not a flavoring. So based on those two things, it's considered a capsule, right? So we are actually talking with someone right now who potentially we might be working on that thing. We're trying. It's a difficult thing to make something without sugar taste good.
yeah.
Right. So there are trade-offs, right? And I'm not sure, like we are exploring that, but it's difficult to do it in a way that tastes good. And Edison's already done it. So like, if I do the exact same thing, I'm not going to compete with them, right? They've got a lot more marketing dollars than I do. So we are looking at hard candy options and different ways of doing exactly what they're doing. But I'm not sure how it will go exactly. Sorry, I don't have a better answer.
That was a great answer. Thank you.
Yeah, what I would be looking forward to, one product that I haven't seen that I would be really curious would be lollipops one day as well. I haven't seen any legal lollipops so far, and I would be really curious on how those would work with like the sublingual absorption rather than just eating edibles as well. That would be interesting.
Yeah, so we did lollipops in Legacy, and
Yeah.
you do get a little bit of a sublingual absorption through it, but for the most part, the particles of either your hash rosin or your distillate or whatever you're using, the particles are so large that they don't necessarily go through the mucous membranes in your mouth the way a nano-infused product would. So it's not the same as a sublingual. You do get a little bit faster onset, but not as quickly as if you had a sublingual. We are looking at submitting those for NNCPs, but I'm concerned that Health Canada will say they appeal to children, even though you can literally buy like narcotic lollipops at the pharmacy, right? If you have a prescription for them. So I don't know. We are looking at that. That is a potential future product, because that was one of our really popular products in the legacy market. So it's one thing that we're looking at.
Tidal did release 2 of them. One's an orange creamsicle and one's a cherry. They
Oh,
came
there you
out
go.
about 2 months ago now.
Okay, great. Good for them.
Have you tried them? Have you tried them?
Yeah, my hubby likes them a lot. I think he's a kid at heart, so walking around with a THC sucker is kind of cool. But he likes them. He likes the flavor. He does get high, so.
Yeah, that is also the picture that I have right now. That's why I want the lollipops. It's just like you're walking around, you're having a lollipop, and no one's noticing, but slowly away, you're fading away. That's also what I found super.
Tabitha, don't always worry about the money value you've got for advertising dollars. When your product's as good as yours, you don't have to worry about that because the bud tenders will push it for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You should tell the OCS that because they don't agree with you.
I don't think they
Yeah.
understand English, but thanks.
They don't
Shots
understand a
fired.
lot of things.
Unfortunately, but yeah, you guys are not alone. BC and Ontario stay strong. It's a little messy on both ends, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I feel like with your edibles as well, as soon as someone says hash rosin or a bartender hears hash rosin, it's easy to sell the products as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like if you know, right? And like people who know hash rosin know. And so all you have to do is eat it a couple times and then you've had the experience and you can share that with your guest, right? And I think that's what good bud tenders do. They are able to talk to their guest or their customer, figure out what context they're approaching you in, figure out, like, even a lot of times your customer has no idea what they're talking about, but you can figure out what they need, right? And
Yeah.
so good bud tender, all the bud tenders on this call are like talking about, oh, now this product came out, this product came out, this product came out. So they know all the products and then they're able to make the right recommendation to the customer, even though the customer doesn't know what they want, right? So, you know, people who know edibles and bud tenders who've tried hash rosin, they know, right? And so they're able to make the right recommendation at the right time for the right customer.
Yeah, so true. And also one thing that one last little bit of advice that I have, by the way, or some advice that I wanted to ask you about is how would you what advice would you give a bartender to help them upsell some gummies to some customers who are actually not looking for gummies? Because I feel like there's a big skill set that some bartenders can learn as well, is how to like sell the customers things they are actually not looking for, but are from another product category. Because it's hard when if someone comes in for a sativa flower, it's hard to convince them about indica, but maybe you can convince them about sativa oils and sativa edibles or stuff at the same time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And I think it goes to the same thing that I was just talking about. It's about really understanding your customer and understanding where they're coming from and what they're looking for. Right. So in their mind, they come in and they say, oh, I need weed to help me sleep. So they come in and they say, I need something to help me sleep. And in their mind, they're just going to get flour. That's the only thing they're thinking of. But you, as the bud tender, you know, you've got this CBN 510 vape cartridge that might work really well for them. You've got these indica gummies that might work really well for them. You have some oils that you think might work really well for them. So it's about having that conversation, right? It's about understanding what is it that you're really looking for? How are you going to use this product? Whatever it is you came in here to buy, how are you going to use it in your life? And then me, as the bud tender who knows all the products in the store, I can make the right recommendation for you and say, okay, you want to sleep better? Why don't you try gummy? Because it's going to take a little bit longer to kick in, but then you're going to stay asleep the whole night, right? Or if you're looking to fight inflammation after the gym, try a gummy because you're able to get as much CBD into your body as you want at once and not have to puff on a vape for an hour or whatever, right? So it's really about understanding what your customer is looking for and then finding a way to recommend it for that, right? So sleep is a good one. Inflammation is a good one. That's really good for CBD, especially people who just want to get high. Someone's looking to get really high and they maybe haven't tried a hash rosin edible before. Here you go, try it. You'll probably get really high. It'll be fun. Yeah. Right? So like knowing what your customer is looking for and knowing how that product can be applied to that is the key.
Yeah, there's actually something you reminded me of, because I feel like when I was a bartender, because I do a lot of educational stuff, I mostly focused on the education, how to like help the people. But your point is actually really good, and that's something that I should have utilized a little bit more, is getting people ripped as well. Because it doesn't have anything to do with like helping with pain or anything. You just want to get super fucking stoned. Here, get the hash rosin gummies and have a good day, homie.
That's it, right? Like, why do people buy 30% weed? It's not to medicate, it's to get high, right? So some people want to have gummies for the same reason. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a perfectly valid use for cannabis. right? And who says that getting high is not therapeutic? I think it is, right? So I mean, that's absolutely a valid use case. Getting ripped.
100%. And then on that note, I'm very curious right now on all the people that are working in the stores. You can drop it in the questions. I would love if some people could also unmute themselves. I might ask Felicia about it as well. But what do you say is the percentage of people wanting more like medical treatment, help in their life versus people who want to get just really ripped?
80%. Easy.
80% ripped and 20% our?
No, I would say most of the
Other way
people
around.
coming in looking for therapeutic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I would say 80% of our customers are looking for it for sleep, looking for it for relaxation, and like for anxiety. Yeah, it's the complete opposite of what we thought it would be. Everybody that wants to get fucked up, they're doing it on extracts. They're doing it on good quality flower. They're not doing it on gummies.
Yeah, they can't.
Coco also raised her hand. Coco, feel free to chime in.
Hi, nice to meet everybody. Honestly, in our market here in Port, we have a huge senior population. So I would say like the opposite of like 85% of it is medicinal, especially with gummies and stuff. That's the one thing that those seniors will go for first. And then if we're lucky enough to steer them towards like either an oil or like I just sold a gentleman a pack of the RSO pills that we have in from Stigma Grow. Those are what we sell more than anything, really.
That's so interesting. And that's also like question to everyone in the chat, but actually before I ask the question, we have a few minutes left. Tatiana, do you got all the names? Are you ready to pull someone, because we're almost getting towards the end? So as I was saying, we have a little BTA prize pack to give away, and Tatiana will draw a lucky winner right now.
All right, we got Kelly Svensson.
Kelly
Svensson. Hey, congratulations.
That's for being so fire in the chat, Kelly. But yeah, the question that I wanted to ask before we end today's call slowly as well, and Tatiana can also fire off the closing poll as well. My question to everyone that I want to discuss is, we talked about it in the other Burn and Learn about medical advice and how complicated it can be to give medical advice without having to make disclaimers, and like in some stores you're not even allowed to give like any medical advice, yada yada. But when 80 to 85% of people are like medical users that are coming into our stores, and I was like the one who always gave sort of medical, no I didn't, yes, we don't know. So the point is, what do you guys think? How do we make the government or the regulating bodies or like whoever the hell we have to convince actually of allowing bartenders to give medical advice? Because that's also the thing that I was thinking about right now. None of the people in the medical field are really getting educated about any of the cannabis products. Especially when I was having a conversation with a friend the other time, is Rick Simpson oil, which helped a lot of people with really, really bad treatments that I had friends that were bartenders could actually consult people on, but they were highly skilled bartenders at the same time as well. So don't get me wrong. But right now you can't do this anymore. So how do we find a middle ground to that? Because we have like this one product that can't even be available on the market, Rick Simpson oil, that could have so many medical benefits, and we're not selling it, we're not recommending it, we're not talking about it. So do you guys got any ideas? What can we do? Tabitha as well, if you got any calls. I feel maybe Cannabis Council of Canada as well is the way to go.
Call up George Smitherman. Tell him.
Okay. Oh, Felicia, you put an article.
You guys haven't seen the CBC News this morning. I think we're all in for a tough go of pushing anything further with edibles right now. Big report came out of CBC saying that more kids have been hospitalized due to cannabis edibles. Increase from 2015 to 2021. It's all over the news. Moms groups talking about how it should be limited, restricted. So yeah, I think we're gonna have an even harder time trying to get stuff going with it.
Can we
I didn't
pull
see that
some
happen.
alcohol statistics, please? And thank you.
Yeah, and who says they're regulated edibles that these kids are getting? If they're in a child-proof package, they're probably not getting them. It's more likely that kids are eating these illicit edibles that are packaged like Sour Patch Kids or gummy worms or whatever. You can't tell the difference. That's
Yeah.
what
That's
we've seen up until now.
You also got to go
that's
back,
exactly.
right? Regardless of whether you can get into it or you can't get into it. I mean, my kid can open my bottle of tequila just as easily as they can open a pack of gummies. It's where you're putting them, right?
Right. And it's up to parents to educate them, right? Like you can't just hide them. You have to tell your kids, this is what this is. This is why this is not for you. This is why this is not for people whose brains are still developing, right? Like you have to normalize it so kids know what it is, the same way we've normalized alcohol. So kids don't drink alcohol because they know it's not for them.
Yeah.
Mandy has her hand raised. Mandy, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to say it's the exact same thing. I was reading that article and it's the exact same thing. I think the biggest issue is that you can go on, if you're on Facebook or any kind of social media, excuse me, like I'm in Cambridge, I'm in Ontario. And if you go on any kind of social media, there's all kinds of people. And I mean, you get them in the stores and they say, I create my own tinctures, I create my own edibles, I create my own, etc. And then you go on Amazon and you can get the little, THC labels and, little stop sign shaped ones. And that's what everybody thinks, okay, they're legal government approved, but they're not. And it's just getting so easy to manipulate and make it look like it is a government product. And this is what people are purchasing. So I think trying to get beyond that 10 milligram, I think the bonus behind it is it would keep people away from the legacy market and going that route to get their edibles. So it still would be somewhat controlled. But the issue is it's so easy now. And I mean, I know friends of mine who, oh, yep, they have, their little homemade edible business and they're putting them in packages. They're sealing them up with a hair straightener and they're putting these little tiny red stickers on them and people assume they're government. So.
Well, you even look on websites, even my own staff are saying, that they need higher percentages, which I get, but so they're ordering them from places in BC that they think are legal and, pulling in 1,000 milligram gummies through the mail, right?
Yeah, well, we had a customer in the other day and she was talking to her friend that was in with her and was like, well, no, you have to order those on, Dank Hub. And I was like, that's legacy market. She's like, no, it's online. I said, but that's legacy. She's like, no, it's Dank Hub. I'm like, but it's legacy. I said, it's on Weed Maps. I'm telling you, it's not government regulated. Oh, but I can get 100 milligrams and I can get 500. I was like, that right there tells you. But she tried to argue it with me. I thought I dealt in legacy I was in legacy market for 3.5 years. Then I went to medical. I was in the medical field for 2.5 years. And now I've been in the legal rec market for just over 2. So like I've kind of been around enough to know, but to try and argue this with some people, I shake my head. And it's no surprise to me that these kids are chomping on these things because they see them. They're the Skittles, they're the Sour Patch Kids, they're the Sour Keys, they're the, everything else. And I'm like, that's not government Amazon's making it way too easy.
Yeah, I also saw that that Skittle company, by the way, I saw that over there is getting sued right now as well by Mars, which is, well, I was a little bit foreseeable, but also mainly thanks for all the great points. By the way, I do the pencil drop for you. I think you nailed it a lot, and I think we covered a lot of good ground in Burn and Learn today. If you know any local MPs, by the way, send them the BTA YouTube channel so they can start educate themselves a little bit. By the way. But on that note, I just see the chat is getting fire right now. I'm trying to round up here, but there are so many comments that I just want to read here quickly. On that note, Tabitha, do you got any last words for the bartenders before we round today's session up slowly?
No, I just want to say, I know things are really tough in this industry right now for everyone. And I also know that bud tenders are the most important part of this industry. You guys are the ones who talk to the customers, who explain things to the customers, who help new customers learn how to use cannabis and use cannabis products. And I know that you're working your butts off. I see you when I'm in stores. I see you on social media. I see you. I know that you're working really hard, and thank you, because without bud tenders, we could not sell products. So we're really grateful, and thanks.
Yeah, and let us from BTA thank you guys as well by having you guys come out to the mention party on September 8th, by the way, because it's going to be the bartender party of the year. And I feel like it's going to be almost, Casey, if you want to say any last words, by the way, but I honestly feel like it's going to be like the legal bartender party of the history, honestly. Canadian history. Like, how many legal bartender mention parties were there in the past? Like, I don't know of many. If you guys know any, let me know and invite me next time. Any last words from you, Casey, or we're all good?
I just hope to see everyone who's in the neighborhood at B Lounge. There's more information on the portal, and we'll be sending out some details very shortly. But to everyone else on the call, near and far, thank you so much for joining. Tabitha, amazing, always wonderful to learn from you. You have so much knowledge. And thank you for imparting your wisdom. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. And everyone who's working in the store, keep up the good words, sell the goods, and have a lovely day. Bye.